Hey guys, I hope you're well. In today's video, I want to talk about a game-changing opportunity in telecom, one that has huge potential to bridge the gap between massive 5G investments and the revenues that can be generated by this technology. We are talking about network APIs here and how they have the potential to establish a platform-type business model for mobile operators by allowing them to work with third-party app developers and make a lot of money. So what's happening here is that network connectivity and apps are coming together, leading to new business opportunities as a result of new types of use cases. As you may know, 5G standalone networks, so 5G SA, these networks use a service-based architecture, SBA, which makes them use case driven. And network APIs can capitalize on that. So let's go to my laptop and I'll tell you all about it. The telecom industry is standing at a major inflection point. We have seen massive 5G investment, but the revenue upside has been underwhelming. What's emerging now is a shift in how networks create value, and network APIs are at the center of that shift. The numbers are staggering. Network APIs could unlock a $300 billion market opportunity by 2030. And the near-term growth is just as impressive. The API services market alone is projected to nearly triple from $12 billion in 2022 to $34 billion by 2026. Mobile operators have built next-generation networks with staggering capital expenditure. But here's the reality check. 5G will still only account for 25% of global mobile connections by the end of 2025. And here's the problem. Traditional monetization approaches are not working. Many mobile operators are stuck selling faster internet or positioning 5G as a replacement or backup for fiber broadband, but that only captures a fraction of what these networks can actually do. In my experience with global mobile operators, vendors, and content providers, one thing has been clear. The technical teams know the networks inside out and often lead vendor discussions. And commercial teams are often more inclined towards propositions focusing on existing or conventional customer problems because those are less risky to produce, market, and sell. As a result, in many companies, if you look at business strategy and network strategy, you won't see a complete 100% alignment, to say the least. This disconnect is costing mobile operators some serious money. At this point in the evolution of mobile networks, if technology and business strategies are not aligned on something with massive potential like network APIs, then some mobile operators and vendors may stay behind the competition. Network APIs represent a completely different approach to doing business. Instead of selling connectivity directly to end users, mobile operators expose programmable network functions like location data, quality on demand, or fraud detection to developers and enterprise partners. And this shift is already gaining traction. The momentum is real. 47 mobile operator groups covering 65% of all global connections have committed to standardized APIs. Over 40 operator networks have already launched commercial API services to developers. The industry is taking this seriously. Network API exposure is now a top 5 priority for 73% of communication service providers. And developers are ready. 60% of the developers who are interested in APIs would implement 5G APIs within a year if they had the option. And here's why this matters. This isn't just a new service, it's a fundamentally different business model. Traditional telecom is about selling connectivity to end users. Network APIs create platform economics where operators enable third parties to build value, then capture a share of that value creation. It's a different business model. Think about YouTube or AWS. YouTube doesn't create all the content, it enables creators to build audiences and monetize whilst capturing advertising revenue. AWS doesn't build all the applications, it provides infrastructure for developers to build on whilst charging for underlying services. Network APIs allow mobile network operators to use a similar business model. Mobile operators provide the programmable network capabilities, developers use them to enhance their applications, and both parties generate revenue. And this is what makes it potentially transformational. It's not about launching one new product, it's about creating an ecosystem that grows and scales with usage. Let's take a look at some real practical use cases to see how this works in practice. In Brazil, major mobile network operators, Vivo, Claro, and TIM, launched 3 fraud detection APIs that banks can use. The first one is SIM swap detection. If a scammer uses the ID of a bank account holder to get a new SIM on their behalf, eSIM or physical SIM, and puts it in a different phone, they can use that to receive bank-related communication on that phone. This API works directly between the bank and the mobile operator to check if the SIM has been swapped. If it has been, that's a red flag, and any transactions through the scammer's phone get blocked. Isn't that great? The second one is number verification. This one allows banks to verify that the bank account holder really controls the phone number that is linked to the account without relying on SMS and one-time passwords, OTP, in case the SMS gets intercepted by scammers. So this provides better security because it works directly between the bank and the network. And the third API is location verification. Banks can check if your phone is really where you say you are, so instead of relying on the GPS location of your phone that can be faked by scammers, yes, they can do that, it uses network-based location information. The other use case is around quality of service on demand, where the app can request a certain network quality depending on what the user is trying to do on the app. One example is gaming apps that can use APIs, so the network APIs, to request network prioritization during gameplay. So things like guaranteed latency or specific bit rates. Another example is broadcasting companies that pay premium rates for guaranteed uplink capacity during live streams. In recent 5G trials, operators achieved 60 Mbps uplink using 5G network slicing. Then you have some proper enterprise use cases like manufacturing firms using APIs for asset tracking and monitoring, smart city apps using population density data to improve urban planning, and logistics companies integrating location-based APIs to optimize supply chains in real time. So these use cases we just discussed are not theoretical, these are commercial deployments already in action. They show us exactly what network APIs are already enabling. Now you might be thinking, if this is already working, what's the challenge? Well, here's the thing. To unlock the full revenue potential, we need to look at this from both technology and business perspectives, and here's why both sides are critical. On the technology side, things are very standardized. Just like you have 3GPP standards for mobile communications, for network APIs, you have CAMARA standards that we'll discuss next. With technology standards, if you follow the specifications and apply the right techniques, you achieve predictable results. It's like mathematics. But here's what's different. The business side does not work the same way. Sure, you have business principles and different business models, but there's no formula that says if you do X, Y, and Z, you will definitely make $1 billion. It doesn't work like that. This is why connecting the technology implementation with the business side is crucial. For example, you need to make the right partner selections and strategic decisions. Because if the business choices that you make don't align with your strategy, then the implementation might become just a science project rather than a profitable business. The revenue potential here is massive, but success depends on getting both sides right, the technical standards and the underlying business strategy. So let's start with the technology standards, CAMARA, and then we will look at the business side of making this work. Now, the glue that holds all of this together from a technical implementation side is standardization. And that's where the CAMARA project comes in. CAMARA, an open source initiative within the Linux Foundation, is creating standardized APIs that work across operators and countries. Here's why this matters. Historically, API monetization attempts failed because of fragmentation. Every operator had different interfaces, different integration approaches, different commercial models. Developers could just not scale. CAMARA solves this problem by creating universal standards. Think of it like creating universal plugs for network capabilities. Instead of different integration setups for each operator, CAMARA APIs create a single developer-friendly standard. So for example, a developer in the UK could integrate one location API to work with EE, Vodafone UK and O2 without rewriting code for each network, as long as they all use the same CAMARA standard. Similarly, in Germany, the same location API could be integrated to work with T-Mobile and Vodafone DE, identical code, identical functionality, of course once those mobile operators have implemented and secured the CAMARA APIs in their core networks. The latest release includes 38 CAMARA APIs, mature APIs, ready for operators to implement securely. Major players like Vodafone, Orange, Telefonica, Deutsche Telekom, Microsoft, Nokia, and Ericsson are all backing this, so it's not just a side project, it's an industry-wide commitment. CAMARA gives us standardization on the technical side, and that's critical if an operator follows the CAMARA spec for a network API and the necessary network capabilities exist, the integration will work. It's predictable, like mathematics. But the commercial side works differently. There's a clear high-level business model. This is a platform-type setup where the mobile operators open up their network capabilities to third-party partners. Those partners use APIs to achieve their business goals, whether that's fraud prevention, location verification, or guaranteed network quality, and in return, the operator gets paid. Now, while that overall model is consistent, the specifics of detailed business model for various partners can vary. There's no global standard that says what commercial structure you must use for banks or gaming providers, for example. Every deal is different. One partner might be charged per API call, another might prefer a monthly setup fee based on lower volumes. A cloud gaming provider might work on a revenue share model that's built into their subscription pricing. Each agreement is shaped by the use case, expected usage, commercial maturity of the partner, operator strategy, and various other considerations. And this is where alignment becomes critical. In some organizations, vendor-led relationships are driven primarily by the technology teams. A vendor might offer a free proof of concept to demonstrate an API use case like SIM swap or location verification without first validating the commercial demand. These POCs can gain visibility with senior stakeholders, and before long, projects begin with commercial teams brought in afterwards to retrofit a business case. So basically, to justify the whole thing. And this is risky because if the commercial strategy does not prioritize that particular segment. For example, if the business is focused on gaming over the next 2 years, not financial services, then valuable network resources and time get tied up in the wrong direction. It works the other way too. A commercial team might push for a use case that the network is not technically ready to support, or that would require too much capex to make viable. If business and technology strategies are not aligned from the start, mobile operators risk wasted effort, friction between teams, and politically sensitive projects that have no sustainable path to monetization, just because the use case looked good on paper. And that's why network APIs need cross-functional ownership from day one, so every use case can be validated, not just technically, but commercially, operationally, and strategically. So let's bring it together. We have seen how technical standards like CAMARA give us predictability, but that alone does not guarantee success. Execution depends on aligning technical integration with commercial value. And that's what turns network APIs into revenues. Network APIs aren't just another 5G feature. They represent one of telecom's strongest opportunities to build a scalable, revenue-generating platform-type business model. Standardized APIs, growing developer interest, and real commercial use cases create the perfect foundation. So the question is not if the opportunity exists. The question is which mobile operators will move fast enough to own the largest market share. Because the infrastructure is ready, the standards are live, the demand is here. Now it's about execution. If you're navigating this shift from the inside, now is a good time to sharpen the commercial side of your thinking. That's exactly why I created the Business Case Builder and Business Case Fundamental courses. They're designed to help you build credible, market-ready business cases that connect technical network value with financial business outcomes, all using real-world telecom examples you can apply immediately.